All right, welcome to today's episode. For those of you who are just joining the podcast, we're the RN Work Agency, and we specialize in helping B2B businesses scale their revenue. So if you want to learn how to take your business to the next level, make sure to stick around. Today we have a really exciting guest. We have Hubert, the CEO and founder of Workcloud 24. Thank you for being here, Hubert. So let's start with a quick background. What inspired you to create Workcloud 24?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Pleasure. Workcloud 24 was designed to manage space during COVID, and then we adapted it towards sustainability and ESG, while today we're mostly providing PropTech solutions to optimize operation of commercial real estate. So as often in life, from the original idea towards the real life and market adoption, there is a journey, and we needed to adapt our approach in order to succeed sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Then, um, just as the founder and CEO, do you think you could share a little bit about your role and how you fit in the bigger picture?
Well, the CEO is the best salesman, and if not, you should not start the enterprise in the first place.
Yep.
Of course, you start a business, and then you do everything what's needed. Means R&D and digitization, which is a big part of the game. And now digitization is replaced by AI, so everything needs to be led by the leaders to infiltrate the operation successfully and the team, and to showcase them how you can use it as a tool day on day business, and how you can use it for increasing sales.
Yeah, I think that's well said. And then for the first part of this podcast, we're going to go into a little bit about the leadership role. So, how do you approach goal setting and growth planning for your business?
Well, first, I'm asking everyone single-handed what's their goals, and then we match it with our goals, and we try to find out what's the gap and where we can help, because my job is to support every single salesperson to exceed their limits and their own goals. And of course, we need to learn, what's the problem. Either it's a structure, or it's communication, or it's a kind of product knowledge, whatever. So that's the part, I guess, which is the entry of a successful relationship. If you do not adjust the goals from the company perspective towards the salesperson and vice versa, it's designed for failure.
Yeah, I think that's interesting perspective on it to be able to match the business's needs with the individual needs. So that's pretty interesting. And then knowing all their needs, is that kind of how you help keep them aligned and motivated? Do you kind of use their goals to pursue
I mean,
them?
salespeople are a different breed to admin people. That means you need to keep them together, and you need to manage them as a team, as a coach of a team. And then there is a self-motivating mechanism, which the best of the team can lead by best practice and show the others, how to achieve a better performance in this case. So I rather see my goal as sales support and coach than trainer. But of course, sometimes training is also necessary to set the next steps and help them to achieve the next level.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then as a company right now, is WorkCloud 24 more focused on expanding and acquiring new clients, or are you guys trying to grow existing accounts?
No. I mean, our goal is long term. We know that once we have an account, that the account stays with us for 5 years. We also know that the single ticket entry ticket exceeds times 10 or even times 50 in the account on the journey of the 5 years. That means our goal is the entry point, the pilot, to convince and prove towards the customer that the product is solid, the add value proposition is sustainable, and we are able to do that by processing into the team of the customer, not one single person, meaning we very much working to take as much stakeholders on the journey from the customer, which then leads to engagement on the customer side. And from there, it's then a self-fulfilling prophecy to upselling
Yeah.
the product. So farming in sales is not working. I mean, you need to be a hunter. And if you don't have pleasure to hunt in sales, you maybe should really apply for a job as key account manager, not as salesperson.
That's it. I like that metaphor. So you kind of getting in with a client, building a relationship with them, sticking with them, and then expanding from internally, right?
Yeah, we do 100% content marketing. We do not spend one single dollar or euro on Google or something like that. We really are self-confident to give the customer proof of concept period with money back guarantee for the first 12 months to really assure and be able to prove that the quality of the product and the add value proposition is solid. And that's basically the entry ticket. And then everything else comes afterwards. Clearly, if there is a good key account manager for upselling, they are faster. But as I said, first is hunting down the client, and then the second part is nurturing the relationship with the customer.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And then now approaching, getting close to the halfway point or so, I'd like to switch over to the business insight. So we talked a little about the leadership and your role and your team. What do you believe that Workcloud 24 does best, and who would be your ideal client?
Well, in our business, we coming from operation, it means we knowing the fun and the pain points of the customer. Exactly. We're neither coming from technic nor we come from software, even so we're using these tools frequently to create that value on the customer side. And then from this part, we're speaking the same language. And I guess that's the key to success, that you speak the same language and you have one level of entry point, eye on eye. And what is the best product if you have a Microsoft package with 10 applications and you only stand half of them, and from the half of them you only know 10% in daily practice? That's completely useless. So this over engineering is not our part. We going like 20% investment, 80% harvest or impact, Pareto, and that leads to success.
Awesome. And then, so as far as the whole industry that you're in goes, what are some major shifts that you're seeing?
There's a big major shift from high level reporting towards on-spot execution. That's an entire world in between on the big organizations with 100 or thousands of assets. It's a different world from headquarter to the facility manager right on site. I guess, I mean, that's really a major shift, and it requires a completely different pitch, as the language is leading and the solution is leading, and not so much the approach on processing and consulting is leading on our level. So the mid-size client with 10 or 20 properties is our lead client, and not so much the big alliance of the world with thousands of assets around the world, which has a completely different approach in their organization to match with.
Yeah. Uh, that's perfect. Actually, a lot of people say AI for that one, so it's nice to hear a little bit of a different perspective there. Um, so how do you currently find your leads and turn those into successful sales calls and help convince your clients that you're the right guy for them?
We try to do as much platform business as possible. That means we have multipliers in the market, which they consult and serve the end customer, B2B, and we use these platforms to convince them about our product, which helps them to achieve the daily challenges and increasing the quality of their services. And that works perfectly fine. Plus, of course, there is nothing more valuable than network. So from that point of view, we are now on 17,000 followers on the LinkedIn account, and we try to max that to 30,000 by end of next year. So there's a lot of content marketing, presentations, network stuff behind that to support this approach, because the reassurance from the guy who sits on the platform as a multiplier is always very important, that we can prove that we know what we are doing here to open the door for a newcomer, and newbie is basically not working on this level of business. So you need to be able to prove the quality and the functionality of your solutions.
Awesome. Yeah. And are your clients mainly local or domestic, or are they kind of global?
We have multi-country accounts. However, on the level we entry, on the property level, we see that each country is different. Not only as a different language and a different jurisdiction, there is also a different mindset and mentality. And since we have people business, even so we're dealing with properties, it is very important that you have a local team for executing and maintain the network, while of course a global approach in this way, DACH and CE in our case, is important to reassure then the brand and the quality of the product itself.
And then, so with your business, what would you say is one system or tool that you find to be the most important, like you couldn't live without it in your business?
The prep work of the sales, the CRM, clearly.
Yeah.
So what's not in the CRM is not existing. And the enemy, on the other hand, is a workaround approach, means the Excel file everybody's using and the hard drive. So I would say it's not about much that you have a Salesforce tool or a whatever tool. It's much more the usage and the structural approach. So you really are able to support the salesperson, also not one-to-one, but if you check the account, you see the follow-up and the tickets and the communication follow-up. So I guess a fully functional CRM system, including documenting all calls and customer client contacts, so everybody can follow up, meaning then the after sales, there's no breakup between the sales and the after sales in this regards, that what you promise you need to be delivered and should work.
Great. And then this one's a little bit of a weird question before I go into my closing questions here, but if I give you a magic wand to improve or just have one part of your business, you just don't have to worry about it anymore, it's all set, it's perfect, what part of that business would that be? Like, for example, CRM, lead generation, marketing, anything like that.
I would dream about not a sales motivation guy
Yeah.
or woman. I would dream about a communication trainer, because what we witness is that the young generation, who has a lot of potential, is not willing and able, and the problem is able, to have a personal contact anymore. They rather write an email instead of picking up the receiver. And we know from experience and from database that speaking to people has a much higher retention or closing rate in this regards, and to building up a network and a relationship by speaking to people and not to mailing to people. So I would say this is really someone who has hands on everyone and train them again about the value and also the pleasure what you can get out of personal, physical relationships with customers. That would be the magic part, which would accelerate our sales, because nowadays we need to basically jump in an age of people which are 40 and older, to be able to bring these skills with them, while the young generation has excellent organization skills, digital sales skills, also has great ideas how to use AI and leveraging, stuff like that. But without the one thing which makes a salesman successful, being persistent, being disciplined, being structured, and love to deal with people face to face, you're failing. So the second part is completely missing in a certain part of generation gap.
Great. Yeah, I think that's well said actually. I see that around here as well. A lot of younger people lack of motivation. Um, so here's some of my closing questions. Is the first one we're going to start off. We got three. What do you see as the biggest opportunity in your market right now?
The biggest opportunity is clearly to help property owners for us on our side to achieve operational excellence and convert the savings into a balance sheet weapon by engaging the tenants and splitting the fund, meaning giving something of the savings towards the tenants, and so for increasing the net rent, which then increase the valuation and also easing the finance opportunities. So coming from a solution part or product part into the process, that's basically the big deal here, to be cross-functional, not only on the technical side, where is our entry point, but also take the stakeholder on the admin side, plus then the stakeholder on the sales and marketing side, to create a full ecosystem. And that, of course, helps us also upselling the product and increasing the add value.
Yeah. And then what would you say is the most important thing for anyone that's looking to get into doing what you do, or maybe anyone that's coming in to work for you, anything like that?
Being able to sitting on the other side of the table and listen more than talk more, and try to read the DNA of the customer. And that enables you to make a tailor-made offer, which then also fits the needs of the client.
Yeah, I guess you never learn while you're talking, right? Um, so then with Workcloud 24, my final wrap-up question here, what would you say is your goals or vision for the next 6 months to a year?
Well, we go for we're a startup, but we're cash flow positive, meaning everything what we're selling, we do not need to fund. That's our part. If a competitor needs 80 people for 200 projects onboarding, we do that with 20. So we are lean and smart in this way. Smart is a wishful thinking, but lean is a statement. And from this point, we will raise some capital to increase the sales structure, the team, to give them more of these communication trainers, more of the training to enable them to getting better. On the one hand, on the other hand, of course, we have a lot of to do in R&D, calling, tokenizing, certificates, make them available for portfolio balancing. And when the price is right, today we're talking about 25 euro a ton. If this is 300, what's to be expected in the next 3 years? We're talking about kind of Bitcoin phenomenon. Then we have a different player and a different asset in the game, which allows us then to gain more momentum also on the big accounts. Artificial intelligence tools, to simulate the impact of sustainable operational excellence into the value, into the future value of the properties, to also catch more stakeholders, asset manager things in value, a facility manager maybe things in operational costs, a salesperson maybe only things in occupancy. So they are working on the same product, but they're in three different orbits, and you need to bring them together, like in an ERP system, single source of truth principle. But you also need to enable them that they can read and live in this orbit, and that's basically our vision to achieve that hat trick.
Yeah, I think that was perfect. And that does wrap it up here, Hubert. I appreciate you coming on. I thought it was fun. You gave a lot of very good insight there. And then before we wrap this up, though, I want everyone to know, what is your LinkedIn? Where can they find you guys? What would be the best way to reach out and connect
Yeah.
with you?
Well, we have a income box, contact box on the webpage, www.workcloud24.com, and we have the same on my LinkedIn profile, Hubert Abt. There is not too much Abt, ABT, in the universe, so it's easy to
Yeah,
find.
perfect. Well, I appreciate your time today and thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the call.
Yep,
Appreciate it. It was fun. Thanks.
yep, yep. Bye.
Bye.